North Miami. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our regular city council. I want to thank everyone for coming and hope you will have a wonderful time with us tonight. I want to take this opportunity to thank Honorable Judge Zachary James. Thank you for being here. And I want to thank Honorable Pastor A.D. Lenore of Westview Baptist Church. Thank you. And I want to thank Pastor Fanfan from Shalom Community Center. And good evening, everyone. And again, welcome to our regular council meeting. And now I invite Pastor A.D. Lenoir from Westview Baptist Church to lead us with the invocation, followed by Honorable Judge Zachary James with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. What happened?
Let us pray. Father, now we thank you for the honorable privilege to come before your throne again. We ask now that you would be with us in our great city. Bless our leaders, from our mayor down to the moppers. Father, we ask that you would give peace, guidance, and direction. Because we know if you give us peace, we'll have peace. If you give us guidance, we'll be guided. And we ask that you would cover us, protect us, and shield us. And as this meeting closes, when it does, don't let us meet anybody by incident or accident, but only by your divine providence. We pray in the most powerful and righteous name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to the council. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me here tonight. I'm Zach James. I'm one of your newest county court judges. I appreciate you letting me lead you tonight in the Pledge of Allegiance. I also want to, at this time, extend my thoughts and prayers to the people of Jamaica and Cuba who have just dealt with the massive earthquake earlier today. They'll be in our heart and our minds and our prayers. At this time, if you're able to stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, can you do roll call, please?
Councilwoman Estimé Irvin,
Present.
Vice Mayor Desilme, Mayor Bieneme,
Here.
Councilman Galvin,
Here.
Councilwoman Keys.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum to proceed.
Thank you very much, Acting City Manager. Do we have any addition, deletion, amendment, or deferral to the agenda?
Yes, sir. At this time, I would like to remove from the agenda completely tabs E, J, K, L, and O.
Can you repeat it
Right,
again?
go a little
Can you-
slower.
wait.
I'd like to remove completely from the agenda this evening tab E, J, K, L, and O.
J, K, L, and O.
And I'm gonna pull off
Wait,
of the,
wait.
okay.
And O.
And I'm pulling off of the consent agenda tab F, G, and H for discussion.
Tab F.
G, and H for discussion.
H.
Also, we will not be doing the first quarter budget and financial presentation. The budget director is out this week. So we're gonna follow that up next meeting. We'll have that presentation.
Okay. Are we still having the Red Garden update?
I'm still doing a Red Garden update, sir.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk,
Madam.
is,
Madam.
sorry. Mr. City Attorney, is the agenda set?
Yes, Mayor, the agenda is set. You may proceed.
Thank you very much. We have one special presentation. Is the employee of the quarter.
Going
should we call the personnel department or what department? Public Works. Whistler Pierre-Louis, please come forward for your presentation.
Good evening, all. Whistler Pierre Lewis, Public Works Director. It's a pleasure to be here tonight to present the Employee of the Quarter to Mr. Carlos Figueroa. He is an administrative specialist for the Public Works Department. He has been with the city for 15 years. Don't let his looks fool you, but he has been here for 15 years. He actually started in the personnel department. Then he went to code and then parks. And finally, he's with the Public Works Department, where obviously he's been flourishing since he's been nominated and selected to win this award. And Carlos is a very personable person. He always delivers. He gets the job done. He is also an avid athlete and sports fan. I get to talk a lot of trash to him. Still waiting for him to dunk on me on the basketball court. So he says. So, I'd just like to point out one main item that will sum up what Carlos does for this department and for the city. So one of the questions in the nomination form is to provide examples of where the nominated employee has displayed outstanding service to the city and worked above and beyond the call of duty. So throughout his career with Public Works Department, without being asked, he has come in early or stayed late to finish a project or assignment ahead of schedule, or to help another employee. During times of emergency, Carlos has always taken on the responsibility of making sure that all paperwork was filled out correctly, and he also assisted in the distribution of safety equipment to employees. This is specifically during the Hurricane Irma situation. He was very critical to getting us back in order. As you know, thanks to the leadership of council and the manager, we were one of the first cities to get the debris collected and get the city back in order. Carlos also makes suggestions to try to improve the department morale or efficiencies. So for all that, I'm thankful to present the award to Carlos today, and I'll allow you to make a few words if you could.
Well, thank you for the plaque and the honor. I don't really talk much publicly like this, but I'm very grateful for the opportunity. I enjoy working in the department. Not only do I get to work with a great group of guys, also the public. I enjoy talking with the public, helping out the public, because a lot of times the public is a little confused on some things, and I'm just trying to be there to listen to them and help them out in any way possible. And for Whistler, thank you for the opportunity as well for working for Public Works. It's been a great 5 years, and hopefully I can continue to work in the department and for the city of North Miami. Thank you.
I think right now we're gonna have our special presentation is gonna be about Red Garden. But just before, let me and say thank you for coming to the city of North Miami, to my old friend Eddie Durandis. Eddie Durandis been a Eddie, can you say hi? People can see you. Eddie Durandis been around the city of North Miami for over 30 years. I don't know if you remember Potemkin Dodge on behind Walgreens on 125th in the early 1980s to 1990. Eddie been working at Potemkin Dodge and Chrysler for some times before moving to different dealership. We opened our dealership in 2007, and now Eddie Durandis is the finance director for Allen Dixon Toyota. And thank you. And Eddie, and you have business in the city of North Miami for quite some time. Eddie Durandis was the owner of that restaurant who was on by Greenwich Studio. He owned that restaurant in the past. That means he's been a long time resident, part business in the city of North Miami. And thank you for coming.
Are we doing,
Red Garden.
are we doing announcement or are we going back to announcement? And
Well,
roll
it's,
call, did we do roll call?
No, we did work
Oh,
on.
we did? I'm here.
Where is that? Can you
Let
record
the
this?
record reflect Councilman DeSulme is here.
Yes, please let the record reflect that Councilman
Oh,
Desselman
come on, Madam
is
Clerk.
present.
We do an announcement after? You have any
Yeah,
announcement?
here's
Miss-
the presentation about,
She don't have no- look
now
at
it's
her
Red
sitting there.
Garden updates. And after
Wait,
that,
you
we'll do
done?
announcement.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Arthur Sorey, Deputy City Manager. Tonight, we're going to do, as I said last meeting, we're going to do a presentation, an update on the Red Garden. And I'll start. So back, and we're probably talking almost a year ago, we decided to take ownership or lease the property on the Denmark property on Northwest 7th Avenue. And for those who don't know, it was a property that's been abandoned for the last 25 years. And it was a real eyesore in the community. So as an agreement we reached with Mr. Denmark, we came to terms to lease the parcel from him and to do something to spur economic development and really clean up the eyesore on the site. So its actually address is 12351 Northwest 7th Avenue. The current plan, two-phase plan, was to get the site cleaned up and to establish a food incubator program, and also staging for temporary event space. The lease is about 14 and a half more years that we have for the lease of the space. And this was our original plan, what we came up with the vacant lot for parking in the back and kind of a sales system in the front for eating, food trucks surrounding the area, restrooms, pop-up. And just to give you an idea what was the concept, was more of a wharf concept. Wharf, Windward Yard, some of these pop-up sites that you're seeing all around Miami and Fort Lauderdale. So we came to the CRA meeting. This is a CRA project, by the way. We did come to the CRA meeting and request $500,000 to start first phase planning and try to get the site cleaned up and get it ready for pop-up events, which included doing a pop-up event for the Super Bowl weekend. And really, and it's important that everybody understands this is not a event space that was set up for the Super Bowl.
Okay.
We did set this space up for the next 15 years. That's what we're working on, setting the space up for the next 15 years. It's a temporary event space for now. First phase is the pop-up, and we'll move into something a little more in the future to come. But right now, it's just a pop-up space. I have a few of the before photos. Like I said, the property was abandoned. It was a statue yard where they sold statues and pottery and greenery. Anybody from North Miami in the mid days knows this property. So all of this was there just behind the fence. You can see the fence tore down there, but it's been sitting like that for 25 years. So now we're here. This is the new design, the new logo for the Red Garden. This is the site. These are the pop-up tents that are in place right now. You can see the Red Garden logo down at the bottom of the screen. And really it's the space, and I'll say from the staff was, this is intended to be an event space, but we did for the Super Bowl weekend, we'll gain national attention, and we already have gained national attention for our site for the events that are going to take place. But we built the site out to capacity so everyone could see what the possibilities are for our event space. So now and going forward, everybody knows what can be there. It's not, we cleared off a little parcel of the land. We cleared the whole land and set it up as an event space for the Super Bowl weekend. So this is the current promotional layout, event layout. 4 tents. We have food trucks that'll be in. Let me add that we leveled the site, completely graded the site. Underground utilities are in place already. That was part of our build out. We did build out the underground utilities. We have electric and water in place for 6 food truck or incubator businesses. They're out. We do have a couple of crowd pleasers there. And the one thing that's not there, those little green circles in the middle, those will eventually be the palm trees and statues that'll be in the place. A lot of the statues that were on the site, people asking where the statues at. We do have the statues in an undisclosed location behind a fence. People ride by it every day. They don't know the statues are there. But the statues are going to be cleaned up. It will be a call to artists. I'm working with MoCA, and we will do art and have artists work on those statues, and they will become part of the Red Garden, which gives us even more publicity in the future when people do visit MoCA. Hey, you need to go visit our statue garden that we have over there that's, was powered by MoCA. So this is the current layout with the parking in the back. And I'm going to go build out expenditures, electrical, lot clearing, tents, landscape, and audio visual. Approximately right now to date, we spent approximately about $420,000 of the $500,000 for the event layout space, what we said we were going to do. Future event layout. The 4 tents that you saw, only one of the tents will be staying. That tent will have will be built out with audio visual. There will be a bar under the tent. The big tent leaves. A lot of people are concerned about parking. Where are people going to park? The residents are concerned. Where are people going to park? They're going to be parking. This one weekend will be our major weekend, like we say, full capacity for promotional, let people know what's possible on the site. However, we did take the residents in consideration. That's why the large tent will be moved. We will put a parking lot. It will be a parking lot that'll be separated by planters for individuals to park on the actual site. So it'll be parking on the site and actual parking on 123rd and 124th Street. There are parking spaces all down the side. And then it'll still be the parking that's been identified in the back as well. So parking is not going to be an issue for the everyday use of the Red Garden. As we do move forward, we will have people. We've had several people already. I'm sure people have contacted elected officials and other people, but people have contacted us about using the space moving forward already. We have requests for people to use the space for spring break, to do some type of channels in Enchanted Forest there, Santa's Enchanted Forest. Actually, we did receive a call that the Orange Bowl Committee, the plan next year is the national championship. They're looking for spaces for next year moving forward, and they're going to be visiting our spaces during this weekend while we're doing festivities. So this is going to be the future event layout. On those major events when we do have them, and we'll be, aware of how many that we actually do approve, and that's another discussion that'll come as we talk about the future use of the site. We'll make sure that we don't do too many that will affect, but when it is time, we can move the planners back and open up the space to the full capacity that we are doing right now. So in getting our national recognition, we did, like I said, promotional build out to show the space. Well, we have promotional, the event days. Thursday is gonna be the Taste of North Miami, a free event to the public. Will be several food vendors there, free to get in. There will be music, entertainment there. Friday, there's gonna be a Welcome to North Miami with a Caribbean flair. So we're actually gonna have Haitian chefs cooking there and giving away food. That event, I believe, is a $10 to get in event. Saturday, which is gonna be, and I know everybody's knows about, that's gonna be the biggest day. Saturday, we're gonna have a car show there during the day from 11 to 6 p.m. And then the Luke's World Party starts at 9 p.m. Those tickets range from $50 up to $500. And then Sunday is a big game watch party. So that's going to be strictly a watch party. People come out and watch the Super Bowl there. Free to get into the public. I believe the watch party is being hosted by CeeLo Green. So with that, we have 2 revenue sharing contracts with each with up to $100,000 for startup proceeds. Couple details in it. The city's share, it's a revenue split for all of the events. No, we did not just say somebody could use our space to make money. No, there's a revenue split. We have a contract signed 50-50 until all of our proceeds are fully recouped. Once our proceeds are recouped, then it goes to a 20-80 split thereafter. One major thing, each promoter, the 2 promoters that are working on it, are required to give a total of $18,000 toward the city's utility assistance fund. That's the end of the presentation. Again, that is our temporary build-out space. Like I said, we used the $500,000 to get going for the build-out. We will be coming back with the phase 2 to move it forward, and that's it.
Thank you very much. Since he's in District 4, let me let Councilman David May have the floor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. Excuse my voice. Sorry, I have a whole lots of questions. Thank you again, Mr. Mayor, for recognizing this is in my district. Just historically, staff had briefly mentioned it. This project is not one of my initiative or have anything to do with the project. And I did tell staff that I'll be supportive as long as my colleague on the council were okay with the first initial phase. But I do have a ton loads of questions because they were asking me, and I am just seeing this presentation tonight along with everyone else in the audience. So I do have a couple of questions. I guess I'll have to direct them to you, Mr. Deputy Manager, regarding this event. We had initially talked about this, and you made something, and I need you to correct it on the record. This is not a permanent space, and our city manager have always, and part of me coming on board with this project, and it was said publicly several times, this was supposed to be a temporary, and from my understanding, it still is, but I heard that it's, whatever, this would not be, my vision is the people who represent that district, who the people have duly elected to do that, that would not be an event space there. So that's number one. We did talk to CRA a couple years ago, and they did have the, something of doing a, oh God, I can't think of the name of the project, Music City, adjacent to 135th Street. And I have always said that would have been the best place for this. However, when I first heard about this, I did not know what this project would be. I did suggest the Joe Celestine Center, behind the Joe Celestine Center, the 9-acre that we have there, because that's just so much fitting for that type of event, because there is some residents there, but also you got businesses, and you have the cemetery and a park adjacent to it. The concern from then was, if we do it there, then folks on 95 would not see it. I don't like the concept of the wharf and all the others that I've seen. up to date. I have some serious concern because $400,000, I know we were all on board with the initial $500,000 that was giving. But it's my understanding, and I'm learning today, there are some other things into this contract. Today, I'm looking at 2 different contracts, and Mr. Attorney, was these contracts brought to you, or was it the CRA attorney's office?
I don't know what contracts you're looking
These
at, sir.
are contracts of the promoters, so I just have some questions regarding the terms of these. Since it's a CRA project, but I know there was some and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So was this seen by you, or was it referred to the CRA?
I reviewed these contracts, sir.
Okay, so with these, the first one, well, both of them, I don't know the exact amount. So they paying the whoever rent these spaces for this event, they paying us $100,000 up to $100,000 if they make that money, or is it advance, or are we paying out any money to them to promote these events? So let's start with that question kind of backwards.
My understanding is that the city expended $100,000 on the event. The revenues from the event will be shared, as Mr. Story said during his presentation. It's a 50-50 profit share, so the money that comes in is 50-50 up until we receive the first $100,000. And after that, any proceeds thereafter is split 80-20 with the city receiving 20% and the promoter receiving 80%.
So in other words, we are paying for the promoters to host these events. Okay, the next question. So 420 has been spent, and based on the slide that I saw, it's been construction, because when this was presented to us late in December before we go on the break, I don't know if my other colleagues on this dais felt the same way. I thought the 500,000 would cover those cleanup, and certainly the statue was supposed to be part of the cleanup. At least that's the impression that I've gotten from staff. So somebody did not accurately, and I don't feel too good about that, gave me all the details. So if the 400,000 just went out for cleanup, so the other expenses on record, where is that money coming from? Because I think us here on the dais, well, especially for me, I can speak for me, I was under the impression 500 was it that from the CRA was gonna go for the cleanup and to do part of the event. And I think all of us was kind of like under the impression the Super Bowl big event would be part of that amount. I think we were okay with that when I left in December. So now if the 420 was spent, and you know, that's a good business, somebody being $400,000 in a couple months to clean a site, but that's fine. So the other 100, Mr. Deputy, where is the other 100? Is it an additional CRA? Where is that coming from?
The other 100 with the contracts?
Whichever, because there's to put on the event.
From the general fund, sir.
Okay, so that's another problem. I don't know if anyone up here had authorized that, so I will need the manager or whoever to from my understanding, unless I missed a council meeting or something, I don't think we approve, because the manager authorization is over 25,000. So where did the additional money comes in to do that? Because I don't think that's, I'm not even gonna ask what's the amount, but I am very curious, and it doesn't sit right with me with these events, because us as steward of the public dollar, and I know up here my colleagues always talk about event this and event that, this is really, and I don't know if the budget director or the finance, this is really not sitting right with me as an elected official, because as being the steward of the residents' dollar, I don't know where that money was from, and I don't think it was budgeted, or we as a body voted for anything else other than the 500,000 to go over. So my question to you, Mr. Attorney, was isn't the manager budget amount legally to go over without council approval, 25,000?
Sir, the manager's approval authority is 25,000. However, all of these contracts, if you look at the dates of the contracts,
Sir, thank
were
you.
executed. Sir, you have to allow me
No,
to answer
I'm
the
sorry.
question. You
Well,
asked me
well,
a question, you have to
Mr.
allow me to
Attorney,
answer the
Mr.
question.
Attorney, you already answered my question.
I did not answer your
Well,
question.
you did
sir.
to me. Thank you. Mr. Deputy, how much did we spend total that amount?
The number is right at around $200,000, sir.
Okay,
estimated.
and that's my problem. So I don't know, Mr. Attorney, how you gonna answer that question with the 25? Is it gonna be like somewhere in the law there's a loophole? So if we have $400,000 out of 500 that was spent, that we all know up here. $200,000 just spent on the general fund, and just like that, and so that's where I was going, Mr. Attorney. I don't think there's an answer for that. So that was just asking you that question. So if you want to clear it up, Mr. Attorney, that's fine now. No, he was going to clear it up. So I want to hear the explanation. How did the 25, not being an attorney, that my understanding went over the 200? How is that legal?
Sir, before you all left on hiatus, you passed a resolution that allowed the city manager and the attorney to execute contracts while you were on hiatus. All of these contracts were executed during the hiatus period. My understanding in speaking to both the manager and the deputy manager and everyone connected with this, all the decisions were discussed with the council members because you were all on hiatus and we could not have a meeting, and especially because of the time requirements. Had we waited until the first meeting in January, none of this would have been done in time for the Super Bowl.
Thank you. And there go problem number 3. I didn't go nowhere for the holiday. I did not meet with no one. No one asked me. And are you sitting here telling me that the manager or the deputy, whoever, could take your authority without us being the elected body to spend $200 million and book the city while we on break without permission? I thought that the 25,000 guideline was there for a safety hold, because if we don't know what's going on, and then the public gonna be upset with us, not knowing about these additional expenses, as we and the mayor and all the commissioners talked about the budget. How do we? This is my problem now. So because of the resolution that we passed during the holiday break, saying that the manager has the authority and the attorney and to do whatever. So you mean you guys could bankrupt the city and then come to us and it's like it's okay because we're on a hiatus? I mean, I would think if somebody's doing that, they would at least pick up the phone and call each of us if they don't want to, if we didn't have a quorum to meet, and at least say, this is what I'm doing. And I don't even think we could have done that, because as a body, we say 25,000 was the threshold, so of that amount. So I'm not really looking at these promoters' contract, because they have nothing to do with the fact that our administration went, I could say, behind my back. I don't know if anybody else up here knew, and spent additional money that was not authorized. So that's a problem moving forward. But additionally, there's just so much question, Mr. Mayor and the colleague, and I don't want to hold the meeting up for too long, but this does not sit right, Mr. Mayor, because residents are calling me. Ms. Brown sent me an email, which I forwarded. Yes, ma'am. I forwarded directly to the deputy. The homeowners meeting wanted to get some answers. Nobody showed up, and residents thinking that I know. Well, they know I don't know, but in reference to, they assume I would have known, because that would have been the proper thing as the district rep. However, these are very concerning to us. Like, folks are just deciding to. There's a reason why we have a charter. There's a reason why we have certain things. And I would look at you, Mr. Attorney, as our attorney. If you see something that should not be right, or even if it's feel right, if the managers, because your office and the manager's office are totally different and should operate as such, because it should be a balance. Because if I can't rely on them to give me the accurate answers, because I'm going back to the presentation, is it my understanding that these tents, and when I find out, and I'm finding these things through the grapevine, and that's the other thing, that the tents alone are almost over $100,000, and we only own one of them, and it's only for 2 months. Is that accurate?
Yes, that is accurate, sir.
And that is crazy. Because I don't know why or anyone would authorize, if we're not buying some tents for $100-something thousand. So I'm just trying to help out the administration by airing out these things, because when they do come out, it would not look very pretty. But I just want folks to know I had nothing to do with it. I don't like it, and I'm still gonna dig into trying to find out how did this happen. And we had this conversation, Mr. Attorney. Somebody should have called me, and if somebody said they talked to me, please do not go by that. Pick up the phone and call me and ask me, because at the end of the day, I am responsible to give answers, just like all of us are to our constituent and the voters of North Miami and the residents. So it is upon us that these contracts or these things, and not necessarily the contracts, but this is very troubling and very puzzling that administration decided to do this without any authorization, from my understanding. Certainly not from us collectively. And that's my concern. That's not good. And that's basically that. I think, Mr. Mayor, I would leave it there, but please let the record show this will not be a permanent safe as long as I'm in that district up until 2023. Then I think whatever happens after that, that's beyond me. But my understanding was it was temporarily. We were supposed to clean it up and did this and do the Super Bowl, and then we look forward on what's happening after that. And anything after the Super Bowl, I am really gonna fight it hard with the residents. And I think it's a conversation that we need to have, because folks live around there. Their houses gonna be affected. We got the cops, we don't even know, I guess that's part of the general fund money that's paying the cops. So there's a lot of issues that I have. So since it's already too late, we can't do nothing about this weekend in 2 days. So let's see what we could do after the Super Bowl. But I'm not happy, and I will do what I can after the Super Bowl to make sure that we do what's right by the residents, because people are affecting in this city in the hardest way or the smallest way we would not even imagine. Today I had a resident's water that was cut off for 6 months that was crying in my office, just with some regular issues. And just to do that with us not authorizing almost $200,000 to be going to something clearly, which I know Councilwoman Keys and all of us had talked about, put the events in the budget. I do one event a year, and that's with the Black History, and that's always been taking flack. And the sole purpose of me doing it is trying to help out the residents. There's no profit, nobody's getting no money, nobody's getting anything. And we trying to charge the people $10, and that was not even $100,000. We had a lot of pushback from the council regarding that event, and now we're spending almost $700,000 for almost one weekend. And half of it, almost 200, we didn't even know. And then for us to see that 18,000 is going to our fund, that's just BS to me. But I'll just stay right there, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Just ask a couple questions.
Yes.
Because I had written a letter a couple weeks ago regarding this, asking for the contract, which I just received, and costs. So I am looking for a breakdown from the CRA of what we spent and what we spent it on. Question is the tents. If they're not permanent, then I think they should go towards the cost of this event, and maybe they could be prorated because we are going to have it for a certain amount of time, so we can be charging that to other events. But I'd still like to see that. Mr. Attorney, in December we did take we did pass a resolution to give the manager and city attorney and clerk all necessary action, to take all necessary action to execute any documents affecting the health, safety, and welfare of the city during the recess period. So it's not health, it's not safety. Is this considered welfare? It is economic. Is this what we're talking about, welfare?
It would be considered welfare. This is a, I mean, the whole purpose of this is a development project for that district. So,
Okay.
and again, you know, I know, well, I'm gonna leave it there.
Okay. So that's a broad definition of welfare. Speaking to Mr. Sawyer this afternoon, asking a couple questions about the tents, which are temporary, how long they're for, and I think if we're recouping our expenses and these tents are put up for this event, then whatever our costs are, they need to include the cost of the tents so we can recoup those as part of the contract. So we've got the 50/50, the 80/20. I would like to see those included because they would not be out there right now if it weren't for this event. So I want to make sure. And hopefully we get a lot of people, we cover our money, or don't spend a whole lot of money and get some good publicity. So,
Are you done?
yes.
Thank you very much, Councilman Galvin.
I just want to say I'm really excited about this project, and I obviously respect Councilman DeSulme, and you know, a lot of digging we can do to try to find ways to make this work more smoothly. But if this isn't the biggest Super Bowl party of the weekend, it's going to be close to it. I'm proud that it's going to be in North Miami. I think it's an exciting use of a space that has sat vacant for decades. You know, I have friends who tease me that says you can't spell North Miami without N-O, because we have a tendency to say no to a lot of things. But I'm hopeful that we can find a way to make this a yes going forward, because it sure as heck is a lot better than a vacant, rundown, overgrown lot full of cement.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Councilman.
Do we have any idea of how the ticket sales are doing now for?
I know for the Saturday event during the day, the ticket sales are crazy for the Saturday event during the day. We probably anticipate about 4,000 tickets being sold for the car show during the day. The evening event, we're expecting approximately about 3,000 people for Saturday evening. The other days aren't going to be a problem. And the other ones are the first one is the free event on Thursday. We're expecting approximately about, I think, close to 1,000 people showing up. Friday, probably about 2,500 people showing up. And then Sunday, right around 1,000 again.
Okay, what caused us to go over budget?
Well, the contract's in place. We haven't gone over budget. I think with the build out, we had some electrical stuff that came up. We weren't even actually planning on wiring electrical for the first phase. But as stuff got going, it didn't make sense for us to do it. We actually did, when we did the electrical stuff, then it came with the fire department then next. So we did have to work with the fire department and make sure that everything is safe and with the tents. But what I will say, in 5 weeks, you know, stuff moved really fast for us to get to this point in 5 weeks. And that's it. I mean, those were the electrical,
How much did that cost?
electrical was about $80,000.
Do you think that after this weekend, with all the anticipation, that we will have recuperated
I think we're gonna more
our funding?
more than recuperate our money. For this weekend's event, we're gonna recuperate the money. But I think outside of that, I think it's gonna be, we're gonna make money in the long run. I didn't want to talk about, but the space right now for this weekend, Jack Daniels and Corbel Champagne are sponsors for this weekend. I know Jack Daniel is approaching us and saying, if you guys are going to be here and this is going to be a space off of 95, we're interested in doing something long-term sponsorship. So I think I know we're going to recoup our money that we've spent. to the maximum potential, the sky's the limits. With the Orange Bowl committee, people coming to our event, requesting 10 tickets to bring the event staff there to look for future and possibly for next year's national championship. We did something that for a site that's been sitting there for 25 years, that we have people literally walking on the site offering us $1.5 million to stop working so they can take over the site. And we have to do this right now. So it's going to be plenty of opportunity for us to get our money back. I don't think that's going to even be close. I think we're gonna,
So do you believe that this weekend, once this weekend is done, we
we'll
will
recoup
get
our money.
at
Yes,
least
I
most
do
of our
believe
money
it.
back?
Yes.
No more question? You
Yeah,
said you
yes, sir, I have a
but-
question. Despite what you heard, Councilwoman, I don't believe we will. But anyhow, I have a question. One of the contract, it stated, 2.7. So one of them, it says 10,000 and the other one say 8,000 that we contributed to the utility fund. So that was changed. What's the difference between that contract and the first one of Article 2.7?
Sir, can you repeat your question?
Yeah, my question is, one of the contracts stated, the written part says promoter will contribute $10,000 to the City of North Miami Utility Fund. The other one, it's handwritten 8,000, that was the agreed amount. I'm just saying, what's the change or why,
Two
the
contracts.
change? Yeah, I know it's two different contracts.
This one, slightly above that, this one was for 80,000. So to make the contracts equal, we did 10,000. We did the 10% on each one.
So it's
the one is
10%.
10,000, and then the other one's 8,000.
Okay, so it's 10% of the money that we spend.
Yes.
So we saying that if we spend 100,000, the promoter will give us 10,000 upfront, and then the 50-50 ticket sales will start after that.
Yes, sir.
And then after that, we'll do the 20. Just in closing, I don't really have issues with events. I just want us to be clear when budget time comes in, how we talk about city events and all this. Yeah, I'm excited. This is good, but we are one of the few cities who are spending a whole bunch of money for the Super Bowl. Not even the whole city is spending that much. Just to say that I'm fine with it, but don't complain. In the residents, when you guys are writing emails or other things, know how to write your or make your comments, because if we're concerned about one thing, we got to be consistent. If budget is an issue, we always talk about money when you do this. I asked the CIA to sponsor a business luncheon for community leaders and business, and they said they didn't have no money, which is fine. So I went, okay, I'll see if I could get some sponsors. We got residents, we got other things. That's fine. I'm all good in that, and I'm good for a good party. But let's just be consistent among us up here. Don't talk about these events or the prices, or don't talk about, we have a budget crisis. So if we certainly not gonna look and we're gonna give administration a pass when it's convenient or when we like it, that's fine. Let's do that. But if we're gonna call out these things, we need to be consistent in doing so. Personally, if that's the route that we're going, we do what we do. But at the same time, we need to be extremely careful on how we move forward with these things, and be transparent, especially to the elected official, because I don't know who got what, which elected official got what information, who knew what. I'm just saying I don't know anything, and I'm finding everything out tonight or today at least, or bits and pieces 2 weeks ago. So that's one thing, but please do your respectful rounds when you talk to the folks who at least respect the residents. And if like I said again, if anybody want to have the space of this thing, that's fine. But my number one goal is the quality of life of the residents over there. So beyond that, I do not care how much money this will bring. If the residents are, this is impacting their lives, then yes, I will be against it. And I do see some in the audience nodding their heads who live in District 4. That it's something that when you have this type of thing, you need to bring the city along or the residents that it will impact along with you. Don't just say you're gonna do this and certainly giving misinformation to the person who represent, or don't give information at all to the representative of the area, and then come like everything is fine. So it's not fine. I wish the best. I wish we do make more money for this, but after the Super Bowl, after this weekend, I don't care how much millions it costs, I will be walking the streets to make sure that the residents are not impacted. And if they are, we will have a say, and we'll make sure this event space is either moved wherever else we want to move it to, but that space was not supposed to be at a cost of the residents' back. Thank you.
Mayor?
Councilwoman Estimé, are you done?
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay. Yes.
I forgot to ask one question. I had asked previously, one of my main concerns, and I had spoken to Mr. Soy a couple times, so just to confirm that we have all our permits in place, the fire marshal has approved it, we have a head count of how many, what the capacity is, and someone will be watching to make sure we don't go over capacity. And also, do we have a count on the police, and that will be part of the cost?
We're still working with the police on getting the costs together to make sure everyone's safe. I will say that, yes, as I did mention, we did have some issues with the fire department. There will be a fire watch. There will be fire watch individuals there. There will be paramedics there, specifically on Saturday with the range of the number of people that we expected for Saturday. We had to get our own, there will be its own fire detail there.
But
We did get the
police?
permits. The permits are approved by the fire department. Actually, as of this morning, we got our last approval for the fire department.
We're gonna have adequate police for the crowd control?
We will have adequate police for the crowd control.
And we have insurance, and they have they are insuring us to get
Everything, the
promoters?
whole weekend is insured. And there will be, just, since you're asking about safety, metal detectors will be at every entrance of the Red Garden for people going through. They will have to go through metal detectors. So we've taken all precautions and worked with the police department in doing so.
So when you say metal detectors, that means no firearms or knives are allowed in there?
No firearms.
Y'all recognize Uncle Luke is older than me? Like, this is not going to be.
No, you got a big, we have this here. I'm just wondering, because people have, carry permits.
Lose the mic,
Right.
Councilwoman.
People have
get
carry
it.
permits. I'm just questioning.
No, it's everybody who comes in the event. There's even the secondary entrance that is for whatever entertainers or VIPs that show up. There's a metal detector at that entrance as well.
Okay. It's a big weekend.
No, I get it, but
It's a big weekend all over.
the inference that we're going to have gangbangers running around
No,
with
it's not
weapons on them is a little over the top.
No,
Thank-
It's Uncle Luke.
No,
Thank you.
this is Super Bowl weekend, and there's a lot of stuff
Thank
going
you,
on in our
thank you very
country,
much,
the world.
everyone, and just to add to some of the comments. First of all, I was under the impression that we are spending 500,000 total for the event. I didn't know about that extra money. I thought that was a part of it. But since the event that we are doing on Friday and Saturday, and based on the plan, it seems like we're gonna recoup our money back. It's not like free money, it's like an advance money, and there is a chance that we get that money back. Before my comments, I'll wait until after the Super Bowl and to see how it goes. And another thing, as far as for the tents, the administration stated clearly and at the last meeting that the tents were gonna cost between 80 to 100,000. That's when they say that on record before the approval of the 500,000 for that. And that being said, let's hope that we have a good Super Bowl weekend and hope that we can recoup our money back. And I want to let everyone know also that on Saturday and at the North Miami Stadium, we are going to have an official event with the Super Bowl committee. It will be a family fun day where you're going to have superstars, players, a lot of celebrities. They're going to be on site on Saturday. It will be in your district.
Will there be metal detectors?
I don't think so, sir.
Okay, but that's the thing. We didn't ask for metal
That's when
detectors
people
in
are
District
worried
1.
about.
No, I am very uncomfortable with the focus on metal
Well-
detectors for District 4, not on District 1.
If I may,
That's
Mayor,
on a-
We don't,
Wait,
we don't
wait,
need to
wait.
have them.
I just attended a fantastic active shooter event here, and it's not when, it's where, right? Chief?
Okay, but understand that
We need 'em.
it's a lot of events,
We
and
can have
we
them
are
in our high
so glad
schools,
that
middle schools.
the Super Bowl committee
Parkland?
choose North Miami Stadium towards the family fun day. That's a good recognition, and I have to thank the PAL, the Police Athletic League. As a matter of fact, PAL and is a part of a documentary that they put together, the Super Bowl committee, and it's gonna air on ESPN about the city of North Miami. That's mean it's Super Bowl weekend, and North Miami is on the map of the Super Bowl. Not only that, for Saturday, the family, they have other places with more safety that they could go, with more amenities they could go for the family fun day. That's mean a lot of celebrities are going to be in the city of North Miami Saturday. But on top of that, then the mayor was invited to a, how do you call that, where you're gonna have all those Hall of Famers, and Don Shula, coach, is going to be there, and a lot of celebrities. As a matter of fact, it's only the mayor has been invited. He's gonna be at Wine Henry and Jaguar Infinity, and it's gonna be on Wednesday night. It's gonna be from 6 to 10 p.m. and you're gonna have about 50 celebrities. When they invited me, they said it's gonna be the total of people who's going to be there. The value is over $500 million in the city of North Miami. That's mean by Wine and with Jaguar. That's mean it's big stuff. That's mean we hope that we can recoup our money. We do need money, and I'm mad that the administration did not discuss the plan with Vice Mayor Alex Desulme. He's in his district. Like me, I won't accept that. When it was when I was in charge of District 3, I hope that next time that doesn't happen anymore, and he's aware of everything. But another problem that we talked about it, and we signed a contract for $8,000 a month to lend that place. How come do we lease the place for over $8,000 a month when we didn't know in advance what we were gonna do there? That's mean we all five, we voted for it. We shouldn't do that without having a plan for the location. That's another problem that we have. That's mean we try to make something happen on the side, because whether you use it or not, you're spending $9,000 every month for the place. That means it's not a free place to the city. That's mean we got to do something, and I hope after the Super Bowl, we sit down with Vice Mayor Desulme.
No,
to
they
know-
won't be sitting with me, Mr. Mayor, but we
I said
could-
after the
No, I
Super
know,
Bowl.
but I know.
What are you talking
No,
about?
no, I know, but I'm just really
I
upset.
hope after the
tonight.
Super Bowl, you sit down with
No,
Vice Mayor
no,
Desulme
I don't need them to
and
sit
come up
with
with
me.
a plan for
We'll be
with
all
a
right.
project for the location, because we are paying. It's either we cancel the contract.
Because, Mr. Mayor, all of that, we did not, when I voted here, and that's part of my frustration, I did not vote that it was gonna allow to do that. We first voted because it was a place that's been there, been abandoned for a long time, and it was supposed to be part of the initiative that we had with the Chinatown idea. So this event place, like I said, it's been 3 years since the CRA talked about a music city, and we talked about the concept of it north of that. So when administration brought it up to me, and to talk about that place, I suggested that they use the Joe Celestine because it's our place. We don't rent it. I said
You're talking about the MC lot in
the-
the back.
yeah, exactly. And I said we
okay,
could come
okay.
up with something concrete. They didn't even give me. It was from a couple of minutes. We passed the leasing of it, and then the idea started coming down, and we're like, okay. Like I said, I'm not complaining about us renting it and cleaning it up. That I'm fine. Like I said, I own it, and residents been asking me about the 500,000. I voted for it. I'm concerned about the other things and the plans because administration will say one
You're
thing and
talking
then
about the 200,000 extra.
beyond. Yes, the
Okay,
200,000 extra beyond, and then all of a sudden in October we'll be like, oh well, you know what? Event is this. It'll be the residents. They'll be event too much events in North Miami. This and this and that. You got to cut this. You got to do this and this and that. So that's my just concern, and that's just my say, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and I think the public will be able to speak on the item when we open public forum. Since it's a discussion item, we're not gonna make any decision on it. That's mean we're not gonna hear from the public at this time. And now special events.